Hey, so I decided to work on this little project. Here is little closet space I have in this room here. It's not much, but it's workable. The space is decent size. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. I wanted to use this as storage, but as you can see, it's a little beat up, all torn up and went out. So what I'm gonna do is reframe the inside, pretty much put another layer of wood / studs, but it's gonna be much smaller. It's definitely not gonna be 2x4s. More like gonna be like 1 by 2 inches wood, and lay the sheetrock on top of that, refinish it, plaster compound, sand it down, and then paint it all white. And the flooring, I'm also gonna do a little experiment with, install these these vinyl tiles down there. I just want to give this like a little small renovation. This is gonna be like my small little renovation project right here. So these planks here, I'm actually gonna keep them. They look old and worn out, but I'm actually gonna keep them because what I'm gonna do is use contact paper and refinish them another color so it can really like pop. The theme I'm going for is mostly white, so hope it all comes out pretty nicely. So yeah, this is day one. I took all the measurements, so I'm gonna do a wood frame from that beam. This is actually a beam, so I'm not trying to avoid to not touch the beams as much as I can. Go all the way down and run another stud right to that corner, run one across, one down here, one here, and then go straight down as well. Do the same thing on this side. One wood here, go across, go down, and then have another one that goes straight down. I'm gonna cut these closet poles because I think previously that's how they had it. They had these like closet poles, but I don't really need them. That's that. And I think I'm gonna reframe. So I'm gonna have to cut the shelves just a little bit since I'm gonna bring it out about 1 inch. And I have to add like support for the shelves to be able to sit on. But yeah, we're gonna clean the shelves up and recover them with contact paper. It's gonna be like pure white. The flooring, again, vinyl. And the ceiling, I'm gonna try to flush as much as I can against it, but I don't want to touch the actual ceiling. So I am actually gonna stick some of the studs that I'm getting against these beams, but it's gonna be like closer to the top edge so that the wall can sit as close as possible to this actual like ceiling, but I'm trying to avoid to not actually touch it. So that's the plan, and we're gonna get rid of these poles, and that's it. So this is day one. Keep you all posted. Hey guys, I am back. So this is day two. What was accomplished today is we did some demolition. When I say demolition, it's not crazy. I just took out the support that was holding the shelves. I didn't take the one on this side yet. I don't know if you can see it. I gotta take these out as well afterwards, because right now I'm just working on the back. I'm working on framing the back. So the way this is going to be laid out is there's going to be a 5 feet all across. There's going to be another 5 feet right underneath this support beam. Again, we're trying to avoid touching the support beams as much as we can because that's what kind of holds the roof of the house together. And then I'm going to have 6 inches along each of these edges going vertical. Right, so there's gonna be 6 of them, and then there's gonna be 3 going across this way, or against each, like between the beams. So that's the plan right now. We're just trying to frame the back. Once we frame the back, then I'll work on the ceiling, and then I'll work on the sides. But for now, we're just trying to get the back as a starting point. All right, so let me get to work. Hope you guys can see me now. This is how I look in my work gear. About to make it happen. See you in a bit. This is day 3 actually. I had to go get some more wood. I had enough wood, but I needed that piece of wood for another project. So this is the progress. I got the back frame all hooked up, and I also demoed whatever was holding on to the shelves here as well. I got rid of that. I know I got to cut these wood up top here, so I'm gonna do that. Next is to cut those pieces of wood and try to get the ceiling framed up, and the sides as well. Pretty much everything else. Now I'll be back. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so a combination of day 3 and day 4. I got all the framing done. So just so you take a look, and I'll explain exactly how I structured the framing. I did not do leveling or actual, I did measurements to cut the wood, of course, but I didn't do it precisely as I'm supposed to. I kind of eyeball a lot of the stuff because it's just a closet. It's not like I'm building a whole apartment wall or something, and this is not part of the actual stud. So if this collapses, it'll collapse in here, which it shouldn't. I think I did a pretty okay job of doing that. So the left side and right side, I figure out exactly where I'm going to put the shelving. So as you can see, I added some middle studs, like right here. So these 2 studs are meant to put like shelves on, so I can pretty much level the shelves anywhere. I just got to find the studs once I put the sheetrock. But the way that it works is that pretend this is a piece of wood. So the piece of wood would go right here, and it'll be a very thin piece of wood, probably the same size as these. These are 1x2s, but it will go horizontal. So all it's meant to do is kind of support the shelf that goes on top. So it creates like a little padding for the shelf to sit on. So I'll put 1 strip here, 1 strip behind here. Behind here don't really need extra support because it has all of this. So I'll just put 1 across that goes all the way there, and then same thing on this side too. And I can make the height anywhere because these are vertical beams. They go up and down, so I can pretty much, as long as I can find it, I can put the common wood across at any height. Plan is to put 2 shelves. Originally, I think this had 3, but I'm just gonna put 2 shelves. And I spoke to my friend Kareem, who's into industrial design, things like that. So what we're gonna do is, he told me to do an L shape. So it's gonna go from here to about here, and then come right here. So there goes the L, and that's the way we're gonna do it. So we're gonna do 2, and that should fit a lot of my stuff that I have that are kitchen essentials. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I shift out the lighting a bit. So the lighting originally, I know you can probably still see the marks. Yeah, it was 2 nails here. I moved it just slightly. So now, I know it's probably hard to see. Let's see if I can spot it. Kinda. Okay, I'm not doing a good job of finding that. Okay. I had to do a lot of work around for it, pretty much. I'm not gonna lie. This took probably a good half an hour. After I moved it, I had to drill a hole through a stud. It's hard to catch it on video, but I had to drill a hole through there. Not much, it was like a 1/4 inch, just so the wire can fit. And I had to pad it with some extra wood. So that's because it was too close to this beam. And we don't touch these beams. These are the beams that support the ceiling part of the house. So I pretty much, since I had this piece of wood here already, I added like 2 more layers of this above so I can create like some vertical space. And then I added like some more wood on this side so I can shift it over. And then I screwed on the light box to that. Well, nailed it to light box, but it's still flexible. I didn't do like a hard with both nails. I only got one nail in there that's kind of like holding onto it. Because what I want is when I put the sheetrock, I want it to kind of slightly shift, because I don't know exactly how it's going to sit with the sheetrock being in place. But yeah, this is progress we made. We cleaned it up. We got all our studs up. These are all 1x2s. So ceiling is going to be on this side. We're going to keep this beam exposed. This wire unfortunately has to stay exposed because it didn't go through. And yeah, I was not about to drill through all of that. It's completely fine. I can put some compound, paint it even to make it like fade out, but I'm definitely gonna put like some compound to fill this part in, which the sheetrock should cover. I think most of this part here. The back, straight sheetrock, flat. The ceiling is the only thing that's gonna be weird, because what I'm doing is it comes here, as you can see, but then the slant squares off like right here, because I want it to be like a flush finish with whatever is here, and that's the plan. So yeah, because I want the sheetrock to kind of come from here, touch with this wood, and stop like right here. I'm gonna compound the edges here so it can look really like flush, like edge to edge, and that's the plan. Which is the part I really enjoy, is like doing the compound part. I don't really enjoy the stud thing, but it was cool to try something new. But yeah, the studs are all up. It took 4 days, 3.5 actually, but it's all up there, more than I expected. So yeah, I'll see you until next time. We are in day 5 and 6, which are pretty much half days, well, quarter days, because I actually work during these days, do other work. So as you can see, I got all of the insulation in. I had to tape it so it can all just hold up for now. But once you place the sheetrock on top of it, it'll actually push everything straight up. This is fiberglass. If you want to know what I use, I just used a friendly one from Home Depot. It's just one for small projects. See, it was like $5 or $6, I think, each of these, and I use about 6 of them for this closet. And this closet is about 5 feet wide and maybe 3.5 feet deep. And it's not all the way tall, so as you can see, the ceiling is like slanted. So yeah, this is all done. This combination of day 5 and 6. I barely did anything today, probably like 10 minutes worth of, I had a little bit of corner left over there, and that's that. So day 7, we're gonna be cutting sheetrock. I'm gonna start off with the back panel. I'm literally going to frame one big piece of sheetrock around these beams, so that way I'm not putting one against this and then 3 small ones against that. Originally, that's what I did, but I'm going to make an attempt to cut it precisely, and hopefully like it holds to be exactly that. Because I can put compound and plaster in between to fill it in and flush it out, make it all even and look good. So I'm not too worried about that. As long as the cut is not too far off, we should be good. So yeah, I'm cutting one big piece right here, 3 for the ceiling, actually 2 for the ceiling. There's this part of the ceiling too, the square right here. The last one doesn't have one, but these 2 do. So there'll be one big piece here, another one here, that's 3, and then 4 right here, 5 for the light, where the light's gonna be, 6 for the wall. These should be easier cuts because it's one big one too, and then 7 for the side wall, the right wall. Then number 8 is right here. That should be 8 pieces of sheetrock. Hopefully all goes well, everything just goes smooth. I measured everything already. Just gotta cut them precisely, and then we should be good. This is the plan. All right, so I'll see you guys day 7 once I get the cuts done. Hopefully I can do the cuts and install in one day. We'll see how it all goes. See y'all next time. Okay, so we are in day 7, actually 7 and 8, because yesterday I did spend half a day cutting sheetrock. It took me probably like 3 hours to cut it up. I had measured everything properly. As you can see, I did exactly as I said I would. Instead of cutting little pieces, I did the U thing, made sure it had enough space to fit. I did break off the edges though. I had to shove it in there, as you can see. But I'm not a super pro. I'm learning. What I should have done is slice it up from the back so that it could fit properly and snap it, because that's pretty much how you cut sheetrock. You snap it from, you cut it from the back and then you snap it towards the front. I did the rest properly though. So these pieces, so all my pieces are cut. Some of them are here, some of them I just have in my little hallway, but that is done. The left one here actually fits perfectly, which is awesome. Fits perfectly. So once I screw all these in, after that is coming down to start compounding. And then with the compounding, I'm not only going to fill in the part for the sheetrock, but also these studs as well, because I want that to have a finished, clean look. I'm going to have to use some, hopefully I could use a sheetrock tape to corner it off and make it look like smooth and finished, because I want everything to just look like really clean and finished. So it's starting to come together though. Like once I covered this back wall, you can't see the insulation. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to see something. So this is cool. So that is day 7. Today's day 8. So day 8, goal is to accomplish installing all the sheetrock and do some compound and plastering and wait for it to dry off. We'll see how that goes. If it dries up in time and we get this done early enough, then might do some sanding and painting, maybe. So that's the plan. Hopefully everything goes smooth, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, the day is going by smoothly. I just hooked up all of the sheetrock and bam, the left side. The ceiling I thought would have been very hard, but it's not as bad. I was able to get the light over. I cut it up wrong. I was using this magnet tool. It pointed in the right direction, but I guess it shifted a little bit, but it's all right. I just gotta fill in this little gap in the back. It shouldn't be too bad. What else? Yeah, left side is in. I think the hardest was the right ceiling. I had to get in. I gotta do a lot of patching on the edges for it. There's just no way around that. But I'm gonna work on that. So we're ready to compound. I know you see all these edges. It's just tricks I've learned from some of the people that have done work for me here in the house. They pretty much leave a little bit of sheet hanging. So they use this as some kind of like sheetrock tape. So we first put the compound over it, then let it sit there. Then we stick this on top of it, and it just sits kind of flush. And then we wait for that to dry. Then you go over it again with some more compound so it can fill in. Because you're still gonna see these edges if you just do one layer. You gotta do 2. So that's what that's for. This just helps the flush look. Going from sheetrock to sheetrock, so you can barely like notice it. So that's the plan. The first thing we do is the first layer, which involves the screws, a lot of the edges, and underneath these tape, so we can actually stick the tape in there. So we're gonna have to do 2 rounds of pretty much compounding. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get to it. Let's compound away. Round 1. Check back in a little bit. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I was able to complete the compound today. As you can see, everything is compounded now. Every corner is touched. All the nail holes are covered. This looks really jacked up, but it's gonna be even and smoothed out. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do it. But what I'm gonna also get tomorrow is these like metal metal rolls. So it just goes along the edges to create that smooth edge finish. So I'm gonna do that for the beams. So I got the sides. I compounded the sides because I wanted the smooth sides. But the beams I didn't put compound under because I just wanted to sit on it like perfectly automatically. In order for me to do that, I think it's fine as is. But as you can see, everything has been compounded. All the nail holes have been covered, including the light thing too. So the light has a perfect hole. So we just gotta wait for this to dry tomorrow. And we might do a little bit of sanding down before we put more compound, because the next set of compound has to be like the finish. And then we sand one last time and that's it. So, but the last sanding should be very, very minimal. Should be very minimal. So I got all this edge, as you can see, it's all cleaned up, no holes here anymore. So that's good. Yeah, so that's the plan. Gonna get these metal corners from Home Depot. I think we're making huge progress. After the next sanding, compound, and then sanding, we'll go straight to paint after that. After the paint, just gotta wait for that to dry and install the floors. The floors should be quick. Don't quote me on that. It should be quick, but I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. All right, so I'll see y'all next time. Okay, let's look at some of the progress that was made. I have to section off the area of the closet because I didn't want dust getting all over the place. Take a look. It's pretty dusty. That's what happens when you get down to the sanding down phase. Yeah, you can still smell the compound. It's like all drying off. So it has a particular smell. It smells fresh. No. Put some light on. Okay. Bam. So I got all the corner pieces yesterday at Home Depot. I already cut them off to sizes. So one corner is gonna go along this edge. One's that there, another one there, another one there. Then I'm adding one whole one for this piece here. This piece could look clean without it, but I wanted it to have like a completely nice finish. So I'm gonna do that. I sanded a lot of this down yesterday, but I couldn't sand too much because it was still drying off. So what I'm gonna do now is sand some more and then put a little bit of compound and then install these things. I believe I can only do one at a time. I'm gonna try for two. Let me see. Okay, I could do two. I thought the width was too much because it shouldn't overlap, but it looks like it'll be fine. So what you do is put a little bit of compound, not too much, along like these edges, and then stick it on there. It should hold. Wait for it to dry off. Same thing on all the other edges. Yeah, so the part that was difficult was these right here. As you can see, it's all jacked up because I was still waiting for it to dry up, but now it's completely dry. I can sand it down to make it look flush. And of course, the most annoying thing, these little corners at the top right here. Annoying. So that's the progress made. So we're gonna do one more layer of sanding down, then put some more compound, let that dry off, and then do the final sanding. So it's two more sanding that I need to do. Then we should be ready for painting. As you can see, we sanded this down a bit. It's looking a little bit more flush. I didn't do the last layer of compound on it yet. I just had to pretty much clean it up. and a lot of the places too. But we got our beams installed here. Well, the beads for the corners installed, so you can see it looks more flush. This already had its second coat of compound. I just got to hit the top off a little bit to make that sit in there. That's easy to do. Yeah, it's looking really clean. You know, we do it with our second layer of compound. This I started at the bottom, but I didn't get to do the top, so got to do that. This is all installed, but as you can see, I didn't do the top layer of compound, so I got to do that so then it can sit looking really flush on top of all this. That's that. Let's take a look at the inside, the hard part. You see it is installed, and it's looking pretty much how I intended for it to look. So I did a little bit of sanding yesterday. I couldn't do much, and I'm using the oscillator tool. They have a sander, which is very useful to kind of help a lot of these spots out. So as you can see, it's coming together. It's looking cleaner. I haven't done the second coat of compound on the rest of this, so that's the plan right now. Instead of do this corner here and do the top, and yeah, and then hit like all these corners so we can have that final flush look, like especially like up top here, all these little cracks are. So once we hit that second layer, it should be smooth. Second layer, I even make it more wet, so it's not as dry, because I need it to be flexible, so I can have that smooth finish. So I put a lot, kind of, and but not a lot in the sense as the first time. It's very minimal, but it's a lot in the sense to even out all these rough edges. So I put, because it has to be pretty much like you see how this one's sticking out, so it has to be like a little thick enough so then this can look very flush. That's pretty much the plan. All right, so let's get to work and see you guys in a bit. So still sectioned off. This is day 11. We pretty much finished compounding the last layer. So yeah, you can smell that compound. Yeah, so we did the last layer of compound. As you can see, things are looking more flush because the last layer is supposed to do that, where you be doing as minimal sanding as possible. So as you can see, all the edges and corners are as close as to perfection as possible. They still look jacked up, but really it's not too far off from the first go around that I did. First ground I did was horrible. Yeah, you see all this? So the beams are all covered. Looks pretty much all white. That's the look I'm going for. The metallic rails are, once they're painted, they're gonna look all white as well. It's just gonna look flush, seamless. So yeah, we pretty much got all that done. All of this is pretty much all done. All these edges looks kind of rough, but really it's not as bad. One coat of sanding should do it. Yep. Got the back walls. As you can see, they look a little bit cleaner now. The edges let's match up. It's coming together the way I had it in my head. It took a little longer than expected, but I'm working quarter days, putting 2 hours a day about, sometimes even if. So there we go. So next step, wait for this to dry up tomorrow, sand it all down, and paint. Paint should definitely take no more than 2 hours. And we definitely gonna have to hit 2 coats because this is the first layer of sheetrock. So you have to hit it 1 coat to kind of like prime it, and then the second coat to really give it that poppy look. And once we all done all that, install the flooring. I gotta put this material that kind of helps the vinyl flooring absorb moisture and evaporates it. So vapor barrier, that's what it's called. So I have some of those left from a previous project. I'm probably just gonna have to like trim this wood. I don't think it's being used for anything. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use the oscillator, slice up this wood, because I want to cover up as much of this as I can. Luckily, this goes from edge to edge. I probably gotta do just the ends. Gotta cut them, slice them out. And then this part is probably gonna be hard. But besides that, everything else should be fairly easy. I think I gotta lift this molding up so that I can stick the floor underneath. We'll see how easy of a task that is, but at least we'll have this done, and I'm hopefully spending no more than two more days of work on this. So sand down, paint, and then try to attack the floors. So we're there. Awesome. So we're into day 13, I believe, but sanded it all down. Right, you can see it's looking a lot flush and cleaner. And I clean the floor too to make sure I get a lot of that compound dust powder. So, you know, I got it as close as I can to clean and flush, but came out pretty good to me. Even the little edge corner over there, clean all that up. You see, it's not as jacked up as it was originally. All these are much smoother now. So now, once we throw the white paint, should all pop pretty good. So that's progress. Sweet, let's do it. Okay, I think we're in day 14 now. Hopefully today's the last and final day because I think we did everything. Let's take a look. On the strip for that. All right. So it's all painted. The doors, all painted. As you can see, it's all white. Our sanding down and putting the compound to fill up some of the holes worked out. It's not as clean, but hey, you can't tell from far away. That's what matters. I did put compound on this because originally I thought I could just color this white, but no, what I'm gonna do is just put a saddle over the whole thing. I think that's the best and easiest thing for me to do. Is just put a saddle over the whole thing and just bang it out. So that's the plan for the floor. All right, so as you can see, this was the beams. Remember how the wood was all sticking out? Now it's like all flush looking, all clean. You can't tell, but it is a beam. It's there. I did the best of a job as I could. Proud of myself because most of my sanding jobs don't come out great. This was the best of them all. This one isn't perfect, especially getting like this corner here. All right. Remember how this was all jacked up in the beginning? So I pretty much was able to do like maybe 3 layers of compound. The first one, let it dry. Second one, let it dry. And then the third one, I was able to kind of through some craftsmanship to form it to look like this. And then it kind of came out perfectly like that. So, and it looked pretty edged off, squared off pretty nicely. I think there's probably one more area we gotta paint over one more time. Yeah, just the top. I think it just needs another coat because it was the metal rail that was there, and then that should be good. And then we probably gotta paint like these. It's hard to see, but there's still a little bit of silver you can see along these edges as well. But that's light. That's like takes 2 seconds. So the painting is done. So we're like, I'll say 80% there. Next, I'm gonna install the flooring. But before I do that, I'm gonna clean up, get all of the dust off all these things that's here. I think I can now take the plastic off. So I'm gonna clean up, get whatever I don't need, start packing away my tools. Just have a little bit more cleaner working space to work with, because whatever's left doesn't need to be dusty. There's no sanding down. It's all just installing floors. So we're going to work on that. Okay. See you guys in a bit. Okay, progress made. We did do some cleanup. So as you can see, the floor's not as messy. I got rid of a lot of the dust too. Wipe down all these with water. Dust is all inside of this little bucket. So that's that. And shabam! Flooring is in. The last bit of painting that needed to be touched up was touched up. I don't see no silver spots, nothing. The light is screwed up inside, so it's sitting inside there right now. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of caulking in here to seal like this inside here, as you can see, but not here because that's where the lock goes in. The lock goes on top there. That's gonna stay as is. Yeah, it's just the caulking I gotta do. But yeah, shout out to my man Diego. Oh yeah, Diego. He does all the work at my house. Anybody else that tried to get work done in my house, it's not like him. But he's the one that told me about these floors. They're very flexible. Get them at Home Depot. Bendable. And I seen him install these. It was pretty easy to install. No issues. They're glued, but the glue is already, the adhesive is already on the planks, and they're very flexible. So like in that corner to shove that in, I was just able to shove it in. It wasn't perfect, but just give it a little push. It got in there. So was this right here. It all fit perfectly. So next step is to get the moldings. So we're gonna install the moldings first. This was tricky because I have a little dent here, as you can see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the molding to start from here, go all the way back to the wall, and then there's gonna be another set of molding, of course, going across. It's gonna be another one on the right side. It's gonna be another one going behind this, and then the last one is gonna be right here. It's gonna be a little baby one right here, and that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna do a little small tiny touch of paint just to get the bottom, because I did, as you can see, there's a little bit of dark spots here, but it's very minor. One little stroke of paint should do it. Yeah, so we're at the end. I'm very excited. We did the hard part already. The molding is last, and then we gotta install a saddle. I did put compound on top of this to kind of level it off because it was all jacked up. So now it's like it has some form of support, and it's completely dry now. So once, I think I'm gonna cut this piece out. Yeah, I gotta cut this piece out and then put the saddle over, because the door has to stop here. So the saddle, actually, I might not take this out. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I might leave this here, just paint it up, make it look nice, and stuff. The rest of this is also going to be like regular. Yeah, and the saddle is going to start right here. Actually, can't start there because of the door stop. The door need some room to stop. So saddle starts here, comes over here. I think it's like 1 inch and change. And then the molding is going to come end here. And then there's going to be another molding that ends here. So the saddle has to go in between. Hopefully that's 36 inches. Perfect. That would be awesome if it is. Now I don't have to cut any. And then we should be good. That's the last step. Moldings and saddle. And then, oh, the shelves too. Yep, the shelves. The shelves are easy. It's really, because I know I placed the little studs that I had behind this wall. Like I have some right here. It's going up, actually up and down. So I'm gonna use the stud finder and find them. The back wall already has some. I'm gonna put 1 strip of common board on this side to support the first level of bottom shelving, and then another strip to support the top level of shelving. So we're gonna do an L shape. And then I gotta put 2 strips on this side to hold that. I'm gonna try to use as much of the scrap piece of common boards I have. So I might not, yeah, they might not be a long strip actually. Now I'm thinking about it. I might have like couple here. But at the end of the day, it should sit evenly and leveled. That I actually have to level. I eyeballed when I was installing the studs, but I can't do that for the shelves, so they can come out clean. And then I'm gonna cover them with what do you call it? Yeah, I'm gonna cover them with contact paper. It's gonna be all white, but it's glossy, so it's like easy to clean in case anything falls and trips. And that completes our closet project after that. So that's all that's left. I think I should be able to get done. If not tonight, tomorrow. And then I gotta clean the rest of my space. And we should be good. But there you have it. Huge progress. The end pieces was a little hard to install, but we got them in there. So that's it, folks. See ya. See ya in a bit. Peace. Woo! Okay, we took out our partition. It's no longer there. And we're pretty much where we need to be. So as you can see, all the molding is installed. And I also put in the support for the shelves. Pretty much. Remember those studs that I had? Well, they're all here. So except for this, I didn't add a support in the middle. Now I remember I should have put one there, but it's okay. This is like another shelf, so there's a way around that. But I had a stud in the corner, so I was able to use that. I used 2 screws because there's one that gets it in and one to kind of level it off so then it doesn't turn. Like these are pretty tight. Right. So all these, like they're all pretty tight. And we're going across. Yeah, the best thing was probably to go one long one, but I had all these scrap wood and I didn't feel like buying new wood or cutting up the big ones I had left. So I just used all the scrap wood and made them work. And all they're going to be doing is support. So once we pay the shelf on top of here, I have a nail gun. I'm just going to be shooting upwards. So I'm going to be shooting upwards from down here so that the nail can kind of hold the shelf in place. And I can always pull it out, just pop it out and stuff. So that's how that works. And for this shelf, it's going to go in this corner. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to nail this in. However, I think I'm going to put another support underneath the long shelf. So that way it can sit on top of it and then it can lock it in place. And that's it. Our compound is installed. I didn't do the best of a job, but it's decent. You can't really see the separation between the wall and the molding. And I didn't paint it yet too, but once I paint it, it's all gonna look like one finish. So right now I just put some more down and wait for it to dry. And this gap, remember this gap we had here? Same thing, stuff some paper in there at first and then put the compound around it. And then I use this tool here because my hands were not that nice to kind of shape it off. And it shaped out as perfect as I could get it. Yeah, this is as close as I can get it. So that's all that's left. Is that. Yeah, is that. So we're gonna paint the molding trims. Also gotta paint this edge. I only did one coat so far. I'm gonna paint another second coat. The reason I'm not doing that yet because I want to wait for it to dry off, and I want to make sure I'm done with the inside. Everything is locked in. Yeah, the shelves, contact paper. Not gonna paint it because as you can see, like this right here. All right, yeah. So that's just wood. It's just a natural part of wood. I don't have time to try to put compound in there, try to flatten it up, sand it down, make it look like one finish. Instead, put the contact paper is gonna wrap around the body of this and make it look as clean as it can be. And that's it. And then we should be done. Should be able to put my stuff in there. We should be good to go. That is today's day 15. So I'm hoping to get all this done on day 15 because then it seems like 2 weeks. Kind of, even though I've only been doing the work like after hours and on weekends. I pride myself for completing this. So yeah, I hope this helped you encourage to try little construction projects like this. Small, very small. It's a little tiny space closet. This is like 3 feet, I think, by 5 feet, 6 feet. No, 5 feet. It's like 3.5 by 5 feet, so it's not too big. And plus the ceiling is not completely flat, which made it harder actually, because I have to go around the edges, the beams, do all this extra work. But I probably would have done much quicker if I didn't have a slanted ceiling like that. But there goes our project. Flooring is in, and that's it. Okay, ran into a little bit of problem. I realized I bought the wrong contact paper for the shelves. It's the wrong white. I wanted like this quality. So speaking to one of my best friends / partner, Mr. American Couture, told him I had plenty of black left, which I had a full roll that I did not even use, which should cover up the small shelves and the long ones. And it came out all right so far. See, it's reflecting, look all glossy. Yeah, I think the black and white might work out pretty good. So I'm here cutting them up right now, trying to fit it in. I'm not a contact paper master, but I'm doing the best I can. And it should come out pretty smooth. So far, the first one was good. So stay tuned. Right, so this is our closet after it's been fully loaded up with goods. As you can see, I love my natural organic corn with my popcorn maker. And we got my what they call that again? Yeah, that stuff where you can make French fries, but it's air fried. So there you go. Yes, I love me some yuca, so I'm stacked up on that. Got some peanut crunch in there. And yeah, it's all packed. It's all convenient. Doors locked up. So now I gotta finally finish food closet. Thank you.